Alec, welcome. This is it.
It's all come down to this. Now,
Islands of Fire, Vanuatu finale. That's the big day.
it has come, and it is
We have come into the final four. We're here with let's just tell me going into it. Power
mhm,
rankings, whatever,
yeah.
everything else. What is your gut telling you? Who's going to be the winner at the end of tonight?
If Chris can hold it together, I think he might. I think he's got a shot. I think he's got a serious shot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say underdog pick though. My underdog pick, dark horse, Eliza. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
Eliza's my dark horse.
So who's your prediction if you
So
had to put money on it?
if I had to put money on it, I would say Chris, but
All right.
I don't, thankfully.
Well, you
also,
will
also, it
have to
might
put money on it.
No,
Yeah.
also it might be foolish to do so, considering it's an outcome that's been decided a long time ago. So,
Well, still, yeah. Yeah, so last time Julie was voted out
Julie, the
after a
darling.
trip to Mount Yasser with Chris.
Yeah.
And then Chris ultimately blindsided Eliza and Julie with that vote. He told Scout and Twyla that he's
Hmm.
voting with them, and he told Eliza and Julie he's voting with them. And ultimately sided with the older ladies on this vote.
Yeah, he did. I
Um,
think he probably is hedging his bets on being able to take one of them to the if he's able to get to the top three. If he can do that, then I think he would want to try to guarantee himself a spot. If he can come in first in the last community challenge, he would want to take one of the older ladies. So
mhm. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. We're going to see it all unfold here. We'll have the winner at the end of this episode,
mm,
and then we'll do the reunion.
hmm
And then next week can come back for the review where we'll talk about it all, the whole season. It's
gonna
gonna
be
be
crazy.
great.
Yeah.
All right, so if you want to see the highlights of the reaction, the nice extended reaction for the finale, click the link
Mm.
in the description and come back afterwards for the discussion. All right,
All right.
see you there.
All right. There it is.
There it is. Chris is the winner of Survivor Vanuatu.
There it
With a
is.
vote of five
That's
to two.
wow. Okay. So even Leanne voted for him. That's
Mhm.
interesting. It's interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Um. Wow. That was quite the turn of events there. It was a brutal tribal, brutal final tribal. But like I said, like I was saying, Chris's answer. He's saying all the right things. I mean, whether it's BS or whether it's from the heart, he's saying the right things to the people to make them believe. I think it was genuine. It seemed like it was really genuine to me. It's hard to like imitate that voice quavering thing without it sounding like super fake, and like you can kind of tell when it's real. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you can be emotional but still not be completely genuine in your response. I don't know. I
true.
don't know that he really was it
Yeah,
up in the air and then went
yeah,
into the booth and
yeah. I mean, I
like
mean,
I don't know. It just seemed like a deliberate choice in those final two votes
well,
to keep the
yes.
lie going
So
to the end.
sure, and what I'll say, what I'll say is this: is that he didn't necessarily have to be telling the complete and utter truth. I mean, you can exaggerate to a degree. Like you're still, I agree with you to an extent. I think the emotion behind it was real. Whether or not it was necessarily to the extent of like, oh, I went to the booth to vote for you. I don't know if that's true. Hard to say. It seemed like he was questioning with the Eliza. It seemed pretty clear cut that he was just going to vote for her to secure his position even more, because I think he knew that she was a tougher competitor in the end than the two older ladies. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, we did at the start of the episode. We had the final four, and your power rankings last time were Chris, Twyla, Scout, Eliza.
which is kind
That's
of
what we got.
that's what we got.
But
That's what we got right there. Yeah.
yeah, so it just kind of became a matter of like once you got down to the final four, you had Scout and Twyla together.
Mm,
So really, it's a hard sell to even get Chris to not vote Eliza if you think about it. But they had
yeah.
this agreement that ahead of time, like Eliza was pretty convinced that he was gonna stick with her because they did that
Yeah.
agreement.
Yeah.
But
Well, ultimately, she forgave him. She voted for him. She
yeah.
was like, "All right, well, you played me.
Well,
You
the
did a
the
good job."
fact is he was up against Twyla, so in terms
Yeah.
of Like
Yeah,
he was up
really.
against the one where it's like there was no way she was gonna vote for Twyla
No,
over anybody. So
no, no, no way. Could have been like Chad, and she probably would have voted. Could have been Amy,
I mean the
but she liked Amy. So
yeah, so it was pretty straightforward to vote. Like, well, after the Eliza, there was a lot of drama there because he kept the lie
mm,
going till the end again,
yeah.
and then the Scout vote was pretty straightforward.
Hmm.
It was just, I guess the decision was up in the air whether should he have taken Scout over Twyla. Now I
I think.
wonder. I think in retrospect, he made the right choice, obviously, but
Oh yeah, for sure.
I just wonder if Scout would have.
Scout maybe would have gotten maybe another vote. I don't know. I
Could
don't
she
know if
have won? I don't know.
I don't know if I don't know about that.
I think he got Julie because I don't think Julie was opposed to voting Twyla like other people were. So
Mm,
it was. She's like she
yeah,
said it was whether she was voting for or against Chris. So I think it's
right,
still would have ended up the same way with Julie's vote.
right.
The only thing is Eliza maybe could have voted Scout over
Yeah,
Chris
maybe,
if she
but
felt, but she did seem pretty happy to vote for him, all
yeah,
things considered.
yeah. And I will say that like Scout was kind of did talk down to her a little bit, like so. I mean,
Yeah.
they weren't necessarily on the best terms either. So
So it might have gotten a similar thing, probably
yeah,
similar votes in the end.
yeah,
Yeah, because the two votes for Twyla in the end were Scout and Amy.
hmm
So presumably, is it just
because of the Women's Alliance.
Is
That's
it
kind of
because of
what
the
it was.
women thing? Her reasoning is that Twyla was honest, right? At
Yeah,
least,
which is
I
like
don't
it
know if
seemed to me it
that's
was
what
more
she's
because the
saying, but
yeah, it seemed to me it was more Women's Alliance
so
that
she
that
would have
seemed to
voted for a woman regardless.
yeah, which is like okay, well, who do you
Maybe
choose between like Scout and Twyla if that was the final two, or who would you choose between?
probably Scout because she
Yeah,
really did not like the whole swearing on her son thing.
yeah, yeah. She was very bothered.
But it
I
is the
love
question, like, yeah, everyone held that against her so much, but then all the lies Chris told, ultimately they were able to get over those ones.
yeah.
So it's like,
So it's like, why is that lie held on just because you use certain words a certain way that it holds extra meaning? That's me and you talked about this in that our probably our longest reaction, like discussion.
mm-hmm.
I mean, one of the reasons I don't do it just in general is like you should just try to you don't have to going above and beyond just makes it like should I even believe you then if you're going this far to like try to convince me like I don't know, it's just like it's very very old, it's like as old as human history is goes to this sort of swearing on someone. But
And Jeff said we're going to get into that in the reunion, so it might be a
I'm
topic where they
have to
they debate it amongst themselves. But
yeah, we'll have to that'll be good. I will say the responses to Amy were both like priceless.
yeah, I was going to say, what are the highlights of the jury
Yeah.
questioning here?
Oh, it's Chad's, obviously. Chad's, how did you change?
How did you change?
How did you change? Oh, it's like, go get out of here with that garbage.
He was the
No,
one
it was,
dud there.
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, he's kind of that jury member where it's like, you were there, but
yeah.
no one really cares to hear what you got for us.
No one cares what you have to say, really.
So,
No, the one with Amy was great because, like, they both were just like, you're not icy enough. You weren't cold enough. You let your personal feelings get in your way of your game,
as
and
the
I
Ice
didn't.
Queen.
As the ice queen,
You were not
you weren't icy enough. It was great. It was great. You put her in her place. It was awesome.
Twyla was like,
I got it.
I
You
got
don't.
it.
It was awesome.
You don't have it
It's
in
great.
you.
Yeah, you just don't have it in you. Yeah, it's like
Sheesh.
it's like
Chris is like a little more. He was softer about it. In
he was a little
general,
softer.
Like we saw the leading up to the final tribal council, how he'd like riled Twyla up, and like I'm not gonna let them step all over me. Because I know they're not
Yeah.
gonna. No, Twyla's not gonna let them step all over her. And then in the confessional, he's like, "Yeah, I'm just. I'll let him. I'll let him do it."
Yeah,
And just riling Twyla up basically, so that
yeah.
she'll look worse in comparison.
And I mean he did to a
Kinda
degree.
worked.
I think she had a bit. Her final response was. I mean, both their final responses were actually probably as good as I've ever seen
Mm-hmm.
in Survivor. Like that was probably some of the best. It was some of the best like friendship drama I think I've ever seen in this show. It was very good. You know,
Yeah.
Lex and Rob, Boston Rob aside, that was a little bit like, Lex, calm down.
You sold your values for a stack of
Yeah,
greenbacks.
yeah. Yeah, well, it was
So
like, what was
Julie
it?
was super emotional from the beginning. Before she even got a word out, she was already crying like as he was making his opening statement. So she was
But what
all
about
right.
Sarge? Is the price tag of $1 million your son in hell, or or whatever he said?
Is that the price tag
Is the
for
price tag
banishing your son to hell or
son to
whatever?
hell? It's
He was
like, dang.
heated. He was.
Yeah, he was mad. Is yeah, that
These
was
three
great.
first jurors, they come out and they're all heated about these
Yeah,
things.
I also like so, and what I said, Eliza, I put in quotations, apologize, Chris. Okay, Twyla, no.
I thought
uh,
like
it was great.
I don't think Twyla could have answered that any better, and like it wouldn't have changed the vote. I don't think like
No,
she
I
would no
don't
matter
think it
what
would
she
have changed the
said.
vote.
So I think she was true to herself there.
I think she did kind of know. Like, if I did, she wouldn't believe me. So
What are
you know
gonna
what?
say? You're gonna.
I'm gonna cut my losses here and just
Amy
be
had a
honest.
problem with her like, oh, you couldn't fake a or say an apology if you don't mean it, but you had no problem
Yeah,
lying all this time. But
yeah,
it's like Twyla, like she's not gonna apologize for that because they obviously were both they feel the same way about each other.
yeah. Yeah,
It's
like mutually assured destruction. They both kind of smiled and laughed about it in Eliza's Last Tribal, where they're like, "Yeah, we don't like each other at all."
so you
It was
gotta
like,
embrace that. If anything, like
yeah,
you go all in on it. It's like, well,
it's very
I thought you
true.
were a spoiled little brat. That's what it is.
So that whole, I mean, so the whole finale was it was, I guess, it was pretty rote in terms of the outcome, just based on kind of what I was feeling out from the, but it was still just it. I wouldn't say it's like it was disappointing at all in any way. Like, there was still a lot of drama, there was still a lot of interesting dynamics. I think ultimately it's due to how well everything culminated at Tribal Council. I feel like if it had just gone that way and then there hadn't been as much drama built up there, it probably would have kind of been a dud of an episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, just because all of the extra stuff building up to that, include the continuing with the Eliza lie, I think that that made the episode just really exciting to watch. It was tense the whole time.
They both had so much baggage going into the final tribal.
Yeah,
and they both came such a long way from where they were in the beginning.
yeah,
A really long, pretty impressive journey for both of them.
yeah. I think they both played the game great. I think people are just way too hard on Twyla, honestly.
People were too hard on Twyla.
Yeah.
And do you think she was responsible for some critical, like she was responsible for the critical move that got them there in the first place, where they pulled in Eliza, ironically?
Yeah. Yeah.
She acknowledged that Eliza was the key to getting them there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Chris had been playing an extremely strategic game for a long time, but he just thought everything was lost before Twilight came to him with that. He'd almost given up pretty much. So
yeah, and it's like Twyla made some key moves there, and she was always fighting, like doing whatever it takes. But ultimately, when you see the resolution, I feel like the better player is Chris. I feel like the better player won all around. Like he was able to make connections a lot better. You can see just by how heartbroken they were.
Yeah.
At his decisions,
like he just must be like. I mean, we saw throughout the game.
Well, Scout was close to Twyla, but no one else really had a close relationship with her, and like.
Yeah.
Most of the people in the jury seemed to have a good connection with Chris, and Chris was also very strategic throughout, and he
from the first episode,
and he had quite a journey from not only the first episode where he's fallen on the balance beam to now, but also like when he's the last man standing, where it's like, oh well, he's dead in the water here, and he managed to bring it back.
It was crazy,
and this was we were gearing up for like this is going to be all women in the end is what this season was gearing up to, and now we have a man as the winner. It's kind of wild,
kind of crazy. Yeah,
it's like this women alliance by Amy. Was Amy had the right idea all along, and we were just like, because she wanted the women to stay together, and then the women got too cute. Now a man ended up winning. Whoops.
Yeah, what's the deal with that?
Scout and Twyla are like,
maybe you shouldn't have gotten rid of Lisa. Maybe you shouldn't have gotten rid of Lisa. Why'd you get rid of her? What was that all about?
Well, yeah. But I mean, even when they had him dead to rights.
Yeah.
They could just take out Chris, and it would have been all women. There would have been a woman winner. But now it's like, oh, we'll play with him. We need to use him. We'll play with him, and then immunity wins.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Whoa.
We almost had it. We almost had it, ladies.
Yeah, but
we
no.
almost had a women alliance make it to the end, but you let one guy get in there, it ruins the whole thing.
Yeah. Blew it. You blew it.
I will say the final immunity challenge was cool. The bow and arrow warrior pose.
Warrior bows is what I called it, and I thought that was great. We've often speak very highly about the endurance challenges. I think that they're some of the most exciting, intense ones. I know they help it along with the editing. You know, we don't want to sit here and watch them for over an hour with Jeff being like, and the deals begin. You know, like often his little like things, but. I did also like the maze up is what I called the other one, where it was a vertical maze, and they had to. It was a neat thing. It was mixed with a word scramble, not a word scramble. It was literally just they were picking letters. Word scramble would have been lame. It was just a jumble of letters, and they had to form
final three.
Final three. So
well, who would you give your MVP award to for the finale?
It's gotta be Chris, man. Play the game.
The winner.
Played that game. Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to at that point. Like, I mean, you don't. In other seasons, I don't know if I would necessarily give the MVP to the actual winner, but this time,
like I wonder if finale of All Stars.
Yeah.
To the MVP too. I don't know. But
well, this one is definitely goes to Chris. You just played a good game. I think some of the best responses that we've ever seen at a tribal council with both of them, honestly. I think it was just, again, these two players were just great. This whole cast, especially the final 9, but the whole cast, you know, I would say final 10 with Rory. You got to include Rory because we love Rory. This whole cast was great. This whole final 10. We don't need to remember the other 6 losers or whatever. So, but a good cast this time around. Can't really say enough good things about the latter, especially the latter parts of the season. It was very good. So
Chris is a good winner. So, but we still have the reunion to watch.
We do.
We'll check that out soon, and afterwards we'll do a whole review. It'll be great comprehensive look on the season. There's a lot to unpack there.
Indeed.
All right. So what video would you recommend our viewers go watch now?
Well, you should go check out our reaction. No, you know what? Go check out, just to get an idea of what our reunion reactions look like. Go check out the reunion for Pearl Islands. Go check that out. Our reaction to the reunion of Pearl Islands. Get you anticipating what those look like.
Yeah, you get your produce Ryan in there. He had one comment.
Yeah, he had one line.
I think I actually cut him out. I think I edited it where he was like, he took a breath like about to speak, and then I cut it.
That's awesome.
But then I got him. I put him in the thumbnail though.
Die jerks.
So thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our podcast feed, like the video, leave a comment, hit the notification bell, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and like us on Facebook. Tarqaron TWO. All right.
Do you remember your nickname for Produce Ryan the first time in our
limp?
Yes, skinny limp dick Ryan.
Wet noodle produce fuck. I
went back and I watched that again, and I was losing it. Skinny limp dick Ryan.
They really did produce Ryan dirty that season.
Produce skinny produce fuck.
Dude, what if Produce Ryan was in the final 2? Man.
What if?
It would have laid into that man for just existing.
Don't even like, you're interpreting my dreams right now. Like, what's going on? Like,
every member of the jury is like, Ryan, how dare you?
Those bananas.
You swore on your produce.
Those bananas were half price clearance. What's going on?
You held up a papaya to me, and you swore.
You swore on that papaya. You swore on that papaya, Ryan.